those concerns if you will.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mo. I'm sorry?
I'm still going.
Okay.
Not really an order of business per se, but just, you'll notice I tried to kind of rearrange your seating a little bit tonight. And I don't know if that's something you guys mind in the future, but it's my hope that as a commission and, as you're trying to work with the community, that we come up with ways to, be more forthcoming with what we're doing and also try to make sure that we're working together. And so, another suggestion I was going to make was that if we are able to kind of update everyone on our activities outside of our meetings, I would really appreciate it. I know that Brian sends all of us a short report before our meetings and just lets us know, what meetings he's attended and what things he's working on, and lets us know what he's doing with the money that we're paying him. And I think it's prudent of us to do the same, at the very least for those of us at the table here, so that we know where's being visited. I mean, if someone attends Rotary and we know that someone is there on behalf of the city with eyes and ears, learning about what our citizens need. If someone is attending, their neighborhood association meeting or what have you, I just would appreciate it if we can, maybe prior to the meeting, shoot an email to the clerk's office or to Brian's office so that they can forward it to everyone and keep us all updated.
Yeah, I like that idea. I had mentioned to the vice mayor that I've been remiss in telling you what I've been up to since July 1st, but I've been kind of busy since July 1st. But I like it, and I will make an attempt to do that, myself. So, anything else from the commission? If not, I will entertain any public input at this time, if there's anyone interested. Mr. Nye. Remember, name, address, and people are held to 3 minutes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Roger Nye, 1495 Westwood Circle, Norton Shores. On the senior transportation issue, back when this came up before, I mentioned there is a program called IT in America, which involves a public-private partnership. I would like to think that as resources shrink, we will not be making little lists of who gets thrown under the bus. And I would also hope that you will all understand that senior transit is a public safety issue. If public safety is a core concern of this city, then senior transit is part of it. So I would just like to read a short article from a blog sponsored by the New York Times, New Old Age blog, about the McDonald family. I'm going to summarize this to stay within my 3 minutes, but basically going to the annual crafts fair in Portland, Maine, Dottie McDonald, 84, and her husband, 86, go in the usual van they always went in before. She doesn't drive. Her husband drove in the past, but now they're being driven by somebody entirely different, a stranger. The van isn't theirs anymore. They gave it to this program in exchange for credits. The members of the Portland affiliate of the Independent Transportation Network, a national organization that provides both scheduled and on-demand rides for non-drivers. For a $50 average annual membership fee, passengers can schedule rides at any time, according to Catherine Freund, the 60-year-old founder of the network. They pay a $3 or $4 pickup fee for each trip. Each affiliate sets its own rate. And then in Portland, $1.50 per mile, which is a dime more than the national average. That same mile in a Portland taxi costs $3.60. Drivers wear photo identification badges, and a small placard on the dashboard identifies a vehicle in the network. No cash changes hands during the ride. The dispatcher uses a computerized tracking system to know who went how far. What they want, so the founder of this network, is exactly what they have, the same level of mobility except for the actual driving. The same impairments that make it difficult for people to drive make it difficult for them to use public transportation, where they may have to walk downstairs, walk on icy sidewalks, wait in the cold or the hot sun. And now we're living longer, we're outliving all of our systems, including the transportation system. The insurer Liberty Mutual has partnered with this organization which now has 16 affiliates nationwide and is seeking to establish more. The nearest ones to us are in Detroit metro area and in Racine County, Wisconsin. I'm going to give you some information about contact, about setting up an ITN affiliate. The model calls for less than 50% public funding over the first 5 years or so. And after that, it's supposed to go to all private funding. So as I say, I mentioned this before, and I think especially in view of the city's snow removal policy, which leaves seniors and kids out on the streets because the sidewalks aren't cleared, you should consider this a public safety matter, and you should consider setting up something like this. If you extend the program for 6 months, perhaps something could be put together by local community foundations or the like. Thank you very much.
Mr. Knight. Is there anyone else? Sir. Need your name and address.
Matt DePalma, 816 Washington, Muskegon, 49441.
Thank you.
I'm trying to make this quick. So once upon a time in Muskegon, there was a paper mill. People could make a living at this place. When work went into it, families got the means for life out of it. The means for food, shelter, and medicine came from the money citizens could earn from this place. But when a need for the place could no longer be sustained, it closed. The owners aren't here anymore, but why does it feel like it's been abandoned to the people of Muskegon to clean up? The area in question is secreting toxins into the lake on which it sits, like something out of a war zone. Yesterday, it's an aging demolition. Today, it's a negligence. That just happens to be poisoning everything around it. The fact of the matter is that somebody's got to clean it up, and many of us are wondering what's the delay. There's little doubt that the people who put it there have a responsibility to clean it up, but that's not slowing down any of the ensuing pollution. In a time where the planet itself is facing a creeping ecological crisis, I excite that a time has come for just do it politics, which could start in small, proud, and capable towns like Muskegon. Applying creative and bold solutions to seemingly simple problems must become simpler out of the necessity of their completion, for which this is an example. It would be nice if our democratically elected officials could lead the charge in something like this, to establish values of both communal and environmental health and prosperity over red tape and bureaucracy. It would be nice to have strong leaders.
Thank you. Sir.
Dwayne Barnes, 3509 Channel Drive.
How you been, Dwayne?
Doing well, staying vertical. Regarding the SAPI facilities and that and the lawsuits, we heard a lot tonight about the pending cost of potential cost of the pending lawsuit. I would raise that the discussions on that cost should include the appellate process, because I know we've had cases such as this go all the way to the Supreme Court. In Michigan, we've had a case where a drainage issue went all the way to the Supreme Court and all the costs that incurred. The cost, if it is one, and those associated costs, and as mentioned, the cleanup and who would own it and all of those type of things. So I'd like those considerations included, that extended cost. Also, the trust within the city. I have a concern that this changes the due process. That right now we have a public process for zoning changes and that, and we can trust the current laws and zoning regulations that we have. And by this good intentions, we are changing that. And that breaks down the trust not only of the residents, because now I wonder, is my residential zoning secure? Because where I'm at, maybe somebody has an idea that that'd be a nice place for a business. Does that mean the public could vote and say, oh, I like that, you know, a hotel going up there or something like that? So there's a trust on the zoning laws that should, I'd like to be brought into the discussion, or at least the considerations. Similarly for businesses coming here, we talk about being business friendly, and is this business friendly? So those are some things. I do appreciate the discussions I've heard here. It is very refreshing to hear a discussion of physical concerns, a lot of good intentions, but holding the realities of the fiscal side of things. So, thank you.
Hey, Dwayne, good to see you again. Is there anyone else?
Go ahead, Susie, go ahead. You know it for me, that's not my call.
Cynthia Price, 1357 West Summit, Muskegon, 2441. I just have, I have a question, and I'm gonna put it out there, and, Mr. Mayor, possibly you can decide. This is a procedural and not a substantive question, but at any rate, I'll ask it. If public groups who could be considered to have standing, decide to, intervene in the lawsuit, what is our time clock? That's what I'm wondering, and depending on what the answer to that is there any way around that time clock?
The court will address motions as they are filed with them. I would expect the litigation, though, to probably be completed late spring, early summer, so if somebody's going to intervene, they should plan to do it quickly.
Okay, but it wouldn't have the 14-day
No.
time clock that you're
No.
answering. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
This is a long meeting. My name's Dylan Hawk, 2019 Harrison Avenue, Lakeside. I just wanted to, you know how I feel about this already, I've said it many times. I just wanted to thank the commission for keeping this an open meeting tonight. I really appreciate that, and I wanted to say, as a parting thought, before you go home and think about Sappy tonight, is that I get mad when I hear Commissioner Spataro talk about money, but the fact of the matter is, it's the truth, and I can't kill the messenger. It's something I'm learning these days. I can't direct my angst at Commissioner Spataro. It's more directed towards the federal and state governments. When are we ever going to change this habit? When will we ever have this surplus of money where we can take charge and do the right thing? That's the pipe dream we all live behind. The community always suffers. The community is always the one that has to take it on the chin while industry comes in and does what it wants, while government comes in and does what it wants. And I think we're all fed up with that, and we know we don't have the money, but that's a short-term issue. This has been referred to as a 100-year decision. It could be shorter than that, but most likely, if we put and allow a lot of industry back on that site, it could be a much longer decision than that as well. And any amount of money that the city has to pay, that the residents may have to shoulder as well, that environmental groups and larger government and other organizations like the DEQ and the EPA, that everyone pitches in, whatever the cost, it is cheaper in the long run and better for this city. Eventually these costs will go away and we will have a clean, useful piece of land that brings so much to this town. That is the picture I see. Yes, it will be a burden to us temporarily, but are we talking about Muskegon in the long term or the short term? I'm tired of getting by paycheck to paycheck, day by day, watching my community crumble because we can't do this and that because of money. We have creative people, we have creative thinking regarding SAPI. We have all citywide precincts have agreed that we want to change this. So you have public backing, you have the blessing of the public, you have activist groups out there actively working towards this. And if you join us in this, in a lawsuit, if we join together, we can finally work together on this issue. We've been battling over this over a year. But I believe if we join together in a lawsuit, we're finally on the same team, which we should have been all along if government represents the people, in my opinion. So if we can join together, you know, I just don't see the problem. What's stopping us? And from there, we can move on and we can fight up the chain on other issues, as I've said in the past as well, for more money for our communities. You know, and I said we need to end the wars, et cetera, in my last speech up here. And those are all true. That's where all our money's going, is going into war. We need to take it back and bring it back to Main Street, as they like to say. And regarding senior transit, how much more crime will there be on the street if all of our elderly have to walk everywhere they go? That's an easy target, you know, and that's just off the top of my head. I mean, we voted for it. Again, you have the city's blessing to do it, and I know money is an issue, but the people have, I know, as Commissioner Spataro said, he's watchdogging the money for the community, and that's noble, but the community has said, we want to spend the money on this. So that seems like a moot point to me at this point, and so that's it.
I can address at least your moot point, you know, when it comes, I can't talk about the SAPI, but remember, it was, the vote needed the entire mechanism.
Right, no, I understand that, but
There's no way to assess those, you know, those funds, so, but we'll let that go for now.
But there are creative means of creative thinking to do these things outside of the issue of money. It always comes down to money. Money is not the end-all be-all of existence, of society, of a civil people.
And that's why we, you know, a year ago started making those contacts with other agencies to see if they'd be willing to do it.
We can figure this out together, that's all I'm saying.
Okay, very
Thank you.
good. Is there anyone else? Dan?
Hey, it's Dan Mills, 49445. I heard somebody whisper, be nice.
And you live on Mills Avenue, North Muskegon?
That's right. But I gotta remember, when there's a big guy waiting outside in the parking lot, school grounds, it's hard to think beyond the afternoon. It's hard to think that the rest of my life, I might be remembering that I ran away or that I stood up. 100-year decision for sure. Now, I gotta say something here about this advisory or non-advisory, this ballot issue. To think that it was advisory only is ridiculous. There were advisory things going on since January, and when nothing was being listened to, then Mr. Page did follow through on what he proposed in March, and this is on a video, Dylan just put it online. Back in March at Bluffton School, he listed the 3 ways that this thing could be rezoned, and the third one was that people go ahead and put it on a ballot and do it. When the city council was not acting, Larry Page and the citizens and the residents decided to do something about it, and it was an overwhelming, just like it was with the senior transit, no, absolutely no doubt what the people directed the commissioners to do. Now, the idea too, that things can't be rezoned legally out from under somebody flies in the face of what just happened, I understand, with Every Woman's Place, which doesn't come in here as Melching's attorney donned in gold, you know. I mean, this is a nonprofit women's shelter, and so we can do that to them. I'm sure they're not gonna stand up to us. But I think this is disingenuous, and I have a hard time with that. Anyway, I have to admit, I didn't see Ahmad's article. I have a hard time letting all those pop-up advertisements load on my computer. I get too impatient for that. I'm sure that in time, though, the reporters will be wearing advertisements here at court, and they'll be driving advertisements around their cars, too, because that's where the money is. Anyway, let me say this here. Property taxes, I noticed, went down for sure, and so did the property value of Melching's property. I looked at the county site, and the property value dropped about 18%, which is significant. In that same time period, the property tax bill from the city dropped over 50%. And I wonder why the city would drop the bill so much. I'll let you ask that some other time. Anyway, I'd like to also say that it's really kind of remarkable. You, all 7 of you, seem to act as though you personally are being sued. And you're not. I don't think any of your money is at stake. I sure hope it's not. Thank you.
I'm not going to address the SAPI issue at all. That would be inappropriate. But the issue of every women's place has come up a time or two, and I think it's time that that be addressed in an open forum. And I'm not sure why anybody would equate the two. I was on the planning commission when this happened. The chair of the planning commission is here. He certainly can confirm it if he feels that I am misstating what happened. The property where every woman's place is located has been zoned single-family residential for many years. When the Muskegon Catholic Central campus was built, that was built as a school building, as the dormitory for the nuns who were originally the teachers for the school. And that's why that building was able to be built in a single-family zone, because schools can build what they want, where they want, regardless of zoning. Well, the nunnery was shut down. They use secular teachers there for the most part now. And every woman's place bought that building and moved their facilities in there quite a while ago. That did not change the underlying zoning. In fact, they made them a legal, non-conforming use. They were not compelled, upon the sale of that property, to turn it into single-family residential. They were allowed to continue to use it for a similar purpose. And a few years ago, I'm believing that time flies when you get to be my age. I'm believing it's like 3-4 years ago now. Every woman's place was starting a large capital campaign to expand their facility, larger than what the ordinance allows for a legal non-conforming use. So they asked for their property to be rezoned from single-family residential to what's called RM2, which would allow for their expansion. They came to the planning commission and made that proposal. There was a lot of discussion because the members of the NIMS neighborhood who are directly impacted by that said, we're not comfortable with that zoning, but we're okay with every woman's place. So we looked at some options to protect the neighborhood. The planning commission ultimately rezoned that property or recommended that property be rezoned, and the city commission voted to rezone the property to RM2. The money apparently was not raised because the building permits were never requested, and time went on, and it had been over a year, and I was one who brought it up because of the concerns I was hearing from the neighborhood about the issue. I said, well, if they're not going to do the project, there's a lot of things in the RM2 zone that nobody wants to see on that site. We should zone it back to what it was originally, which is single-family residential. So that process, just like the original process, involved notifying the public, notifying everybody who lives within 300 feet directly, notifying the neighborhood association, and so on. The representative from everyone's place showed up at that hearing and said, please don't rezone this, we're still working on this project. And after assuring that they were still working on raising the money to do the expansion on that site, the matter was tabled at the planning commission and the zoning was left at RM2. More time went by, and then the next thing that happens is they were donated an office building on Apple Avenue in downtown Muskegon, where many of the programs that were lacking space and would have required the expansion to accommodate were now moved into this new facility on Apple Avenue. At that point, it became apparent that they were no longer going to expand the current site. In fact, they couldn't do so because the expansion would cover where they put their solar array to reduce their utility expenses. So at that point, again, we went through the process because of the neighborhood, indicating that they were uncomfortable with the RM2 zone on that stretch. We did all the notifications that we do. We had the public hearing like we did the first two times, and this time, every woman's place was silent. They were contacted, just like every other responsible property owner. They had an appearance to respond in any way, by mail, by phone call, by appearance, and they did not respond. And their silence was taken as acceptance that it would revert back to the R1 zoning. And so the planning commission made that recommendation, and the city commission acted on that recommendation to zone it back to single-family residential, which is what it had been for decades and decades. So that is a completely different type of situation than what is being described for the Sappy property. And I think it was important to get out in the open and clear the air what actually happened with every woman's place. The fact is they are and have been a legal non-conforming use in a single-family zone, and unless that use is abandoned legally under state law, it will continue to be allowed to use it for what they're using it for. So hopefully that clarifies any misunderstandings regarding that particular property and that particular zoning issue. Thank you for allowing me the time to explain that.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And now, in lieu of Mr. Hood not being here,
I'm not,
let's-
the public comment's not over.
well, then step right on.
Sean Davey, 4380 Happy Point Lane, Norton Shores.
I was laying out good shorts.
Okay,
Good luck with Muskegon.
well, I represent about 600 people in Muskegon, city of Muskegon, because there are about 10 of us who really worked on what's been happening with Sappy for the last year. And the people have voted due to us putting out information and helping them decide about this. Every precinct passed. And to me, you know, it's not so much about Sappy or Melching or senior transit. It's about not having the will of the people being heard. Now, it's hard enough to stomach DC and Lansing and all the crap, and I'm sorry for using that word, but I'm mad and I don't have my full mental capacity when I'm mad. So, you know, I just see our country is just being destroyed by greed. And it is corporation owners that now have control of all of our governing bodies, and including here in Muskegon. That's the way you lean. It was many, many months ago in the beginning of this, I said, similar to what Dylan said, similar to what Matt DePalma said, we need to work together. The places, the manufacturing towns that have been abandoned by the manufacturers and that are crumbling, the ones that are thriving, are going to their citizens and working together with them to come up with brilliant and creative and out-of-the-box solutions that keep them thriving. It's happening. Look it up. Google it. And I want that to happen to Muskegon because I know we have it in us. I know we have vast creativity and brilliance in this community. And we have people that now are wanting to be engaged. More and more people are wanting to be engaged. The more rights that you take away, the more you don't listen to our voices, the more people are going to be coming engaged. And we haven't gone away. It's been a year we've been coming here and visiting you. And even though I don't live in Muskegon, I care about Muskegon Lake. Muskegon Lake is our lake. It belongs to everyone in this county. And, you know, I commend Commissioner Turnquist for wanting to do the right thing. You know, at a certain point, we have to go with the humans and the heart. We have to, because we are here together, and this country is going to crumble, and we are going to have to rely on each other. So let's make us resilient. Let's work together. And I've asked you for this over and over and over, and you've resisted. And this is why it's come to where it is. It is, you say, you've been forced. You have forced it upon yourself, this lawsuit. Larry Page warned you for many, many months, please, let's do something about this before. He didn't file it in the July, for the July election. He waited till November. He gave you more time. We've come and come and come. So now it's a lawsuit. I don't know what to do, but I just know that the will of the people has been said. And if we can write a ballot, if he can write a ballot proposal that's understandable, why can't our city staff have written a ballot proposal that was clear to the people?
Exactly.
You must fund that until you have another election, and it is clear. That's what I would do as an honorable person. You know, I don't want to come and beg anymore. I don't want to come and ask and tell you creative solutions and have people on M Live say, you don't have any solution, you just complain. Well, we've given solutions every time we've come here, one of us or many of us. And, you know, I feel that if the right thing isn't done, and it's not being done, that I am gonna work to try to find good candidates for Muskegon, and I'm gonna work to get them voted in. And I may even work to get people recalled, because I feel they're not listening. I feel they're not listening to the vote of the people, and not just the vote. Continuously throughout this whole year-long process, you have chosen the other side. You have chosen things that are not even gonna give us benefit. I mean, if Melching does a scrapyard there, it's not gonna really benefit this city. It's gonna bring us down a road the same stuff that we've been dealing with forever. It's gonna, I don't know.
With the Cross Lake Ferry parking right behind it, woo-wee.
Anyway, I do appreciate your service, but I really want you to, we can do this. We can do this together. Stop shutting us out. Have a good evening.
I'll take one more.
All right. David Nye, 1495 Westwood Circle, Norton Shores. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I have been trying to read up a little bit on the legal situation here. I can recommend an article in the Michigan State Law Review titled Michigan's Judicial Two-Step. And if you go down to it's from 2009. Footnote 54 would state that Michigan's right to zoning referenda applies only to townships and counties. Citizens and villages may grant such a right by charter, but statute grants only a protest mechanism that, once initiated, requires a 2/3 or 3/4 vote of the legislative body to pass. So, in light of the Melching Inc.'s Quo Warranto suit against you, well, if that is accurate, I'm not sure what leg that you would honestly have to stand on, and therefore, whatever you do with this, I can't tell you what to do. Personally, you have my blessing to deal with this particular lawsuit in any matter that you deem best. However, what has been done by this entire process is that the public will for rezoning this property has been indelibly placed upon the permanent public record. It's really not debatable once you have every single precinct in the city voting overwhelmingly for rezoning. So once this lawsuit is in fact out of the way, it becomes incumbent upon you to address that in some fashion or another. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nye.
Sir, may I have just 15 seconds, please?
You can have my 3 minutes.
One more.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a web address if anyone's interested in the
Bang your
toxins.
name and address before you begin.
Okay, my name is Joseph Hawk. I live right across the pond at 118 Rudderman Drive, North Muskegon, 49445.
Thank you.
I have a web address that anyone could go to if they want to know the toxins that are located at the Sappy Pine. I had a little powwow with the EPA and DEQ. And if you go to occupymuskegon.net/OM News, all of that information up to hand will be there. What happened was when SD Warren and then Sappy Pine got way little out of hand on the toxicity of their soil, and they're almost at lake level anyhow. All correspondence with the DEQ and EPA was cut off. So our good attorney here, you should have a lot of help with both the DEQ and EPA. And he's got a majority of people of the city of Muskegon who are willing to see him through it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good day.
Well, seeing as how you're raising your hands so nicely, please come on out now. This will be the last one.
I'll try and be fast.
Okay.
I'm Jean Nelson. I live at 2218 Harrison, right up the hill from the mill. And for 3 weeks, and maybe a little more, there's been stoppage on any work. Any work at all down there, it's all the same. We look at it every day, and I wanna know why. Right now, there's a class action lawsuit against Savvy for asbestos. Well, the piles are laying there. They're not taking them out by truck, you know, and I just would like to know why that's being allowed. It's a blight. There's a building half torn down with the, you know, because you go by it every day. Come down Lincoln, and I know people that quit coming down Lincoln because it's so disgusting. And it just sits there. They're not doing a thing with it. So I wondered if you could maybe find out why. You know, it's a big blight right now, and I don't think the city allows that.
Right at this point, because it's the Sackey property with the litigation,
I know, but this was way before the
I
litigation
understand,
even
but
come out.
that silences everything at this point.
You know, there's blight there. So if you can't do anything, who can, you know?
Any way the wind blows.
As soon as we can, get through.
It all blows on us and our little kids that play. We have Bunker School right there. You know, it's an elementary school. That wind blows, it blows all of those toxins right into those display yards.
At this juncture, I can't answer any of those questions.
I know you can't, but I wanted you to be aware of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And email me anytime, Jane. In lieu of Commissioner Hood's absence, would either one of you like to move for an adjournment?
Well, Commissioner Carter used to say, "See no further public comment." I move to adjourn.
All in favor? Have a good evening, folks.
Happy holidays.
You too.